also because I know I'm going to take a couple of drinks during this segment. But live from the lab, Capitals Talk playoff edition. We got DujunneaB, we got Anna, we got Robbie. We're going to go ahead and jump into it because I got to go ahead and I guess I'm going to go ahead and put it out there. A lot of things that's going on in this O2 series has been talked about, the goaltending, the coaching, talking about Trotz possibly getting fired. It all comes down to undisciplined play and dumb penalties. And that was the cause for those losses in those first two games that we're about to break down. And the player that I feel needs to be called out, I got to get on my soapbox for a quick second. Dmitry Orlov. Now, game one, I'm not going to put it all on you, but the fact of the matter of the one player that's the game breaker on that team is coming down the ice and you decide to do a weak poke check and try to backpedal and stop him and ends the game. Game two, in the first period, bad mistakes, constantly making bad decisions. And I think it's time to sit that man down and bring up Chorney for a game. I know me and Robbie, I know you're going to chime in on us a little bit later when we spoke about this off air earlier. And I know what you're going to say, but this is do or die time. Game three, going on the road. You have nothing to lose. You want to get it back here at least for a game five and make it respectable. And that's all I got to say. On that note, I'm going to bring in Anna. How you doing tonight, Anna?
I'm doing well, but I'm following a little dark cloud of frustration right up there with you guys, but I am not going to be a Debbie Downer at all because I still feel like these boys can rally. I have to just keep it positive that I do have a little laundry list of players that I feel like need to get talked to by their coach.
Oh, yeah, most definitely. Oh, we definitely going to get into that after we break down these two unfortunate losses. We're going to go ahead and bring in DujunneaB also. How you doing tonight, good sir?
Doing good, man. Doing good.
Glad to hear. We always would love to get you up. Yeah, I know you loving it just like I am, man. I love having the TVs in the lab, all on the playoffs. It's nothing like it, man. But I can't wait to get you out of the market perspective of what's going on because, you know, we got the inside view here. We want to see what the outside looking in has to say. So, Anna, go ahead and break down that unfortunate game one loss that I spoke a little bit about previously.
Yeah, gladly. All right, so we have the Capitals started off in the first period. We had Kuzi starts off with a wrist shot goal at 7:52, and then again at 18:21. And those assists from Baxton and Carlson to give us a 2-0 lead going into the second. But then we have in the second period the Blue Jackets score the only goal in the second period at 4:48. The team is looking a little bit sluggish at this point. Going into the third period, they have a 2-1 Washington lead until the Blue Jackets score to tie it up at 1:37. And then Devontae Vitelli rallies with a great wrist shot assisted by Bronner to tie it up at 5:12. And then unfortunately Columbus scores at 15:34 to tie it up 3-3, bringing us into overtime. And unfortunately we all know the result of that with the wrist shot goal by Panarin for the win. So we were down 4-3, starting the playoffs, which is not what we wanted at home. A lot of frustrations, but I was hoping we kind of get the nerves out of this game, but apparently we didn't because we had just as many questionable plays and penalties going into that second game.
Totally agree. Like you said, the game started off well. Kuzi, 2 goals in the first period. The Caps is up. That's been one of the pet peeves of this season. The Caps giving up the first goal. So you're going into the second feeling pretty confident. Caps on the board at home, and then dumb penalty after dumb penalty, giving Columbus life. And I'm not even going to get into the play again in the overtime. But this was definitely a winnable game. As I said earlier, dumb penalties and undisciplined play. Columbus was getting outplayed in every aspect except for special teams. And the Capitals didn't capitalize when they had the opportunity to score on the power play, and Columbus did. So that was a trend for game 2. But DujunneaB, I'm going to get your take from the outside looking in on game 1. What did you see from this game? Did you see the same thing with the undisciplined penalties and the players not sticking to the game plan?
Well, when you look at the third period, you got an ignorant penalty. All of them by Washington. The ignorant penalty of charging. The ignorancy of slashing. The stupid penalty of tripping. And 2 of those at least result into goals. The overtime thing, I know everybody's pointing at the goalie, but look, man, this is overtime. This is do or die, and you got to give the goalie some credit, some kind of help down there. Felt like they didn't play a very good style as far as players playing a little defense, keeping the puck away. And you can't take nothing away from the guy making a shot, but I mean, should he ever even been there is the whole thing. You get off quick, and it's just like somebody poking a balloon and just the air just coming out of the balloon at the end. Definitely, I can see the frustration of fans and why they would be frustrated with that. And again, like you said, the penalties in the third period really tell the tale of the story. You start steamrolling out of control, and these guys have like found their huckleberry, so to speak, and coaching these guys and kind of getting these guys into making stupid penalties. And the Caps have been falling for those traps, and they benefited from them falling in those traps. It's very unfortunate. Got to get their heads back in the game. They've had a phenomenal season, and for this to be the thing here, I can see the frustration in fans. But again, as it's stated, I don't think it's a doom and gloom type of thing that most of the national media would like to put out there for this hockey team.
No doubt. Robbie, what is your quick take on this game 1 before we get into game 2? You had a comment about the penalty.
Yeah, for sure. So I want to break down a couple of things real fast. One is the Stanley Cup playoffs penalties are up 17% from a year ago, and it's averaging near 10 penalties per game, which I just think is an amazing statistic. And this game sort of fell through. There was 5 penalties in the first period. You have 4 of them against Columbus. There was 1 in the second, so that means there was 5 penalties against Columbus. You know that they're going to even out and look for things. So the charging penalty by Tom Wilson, the Kuzi one with the slash, and then Burakovsky with the trip. And that's the one I really want to focus on just for a second. That one was right behind the net on the offensive zone, and it's like you can't that penalty there. Like, just play back and just sort of take your odds. Like, you don't need to. It's almost like he's trying too hard, and they get nervous and they make some bad plays. It was interesting looking at Trotz. The reason he claims he only played for around 7 minutes in this game, which I think was way too little, especially he had that great goal passing it to DSP. But for me, he was nervous. He felt like his nerves of being in for his first playoff game, he wanted to take him out of it before he made too many mistakes. And I get that, but I think as a coach, you need to coach him up and try to work him through that instead of just pulling him and then not having him in game 2, and then he's going to have to be inserted in the lineup in game 3, because I think he had some good plays. I know there's going to be some good and some bad when it's your first time in the playoffs, but it was frustrating. I think we went away from a lot of what worked, and we played a lot of players a lot later, and we didn't sort of roll all 4 lines evenly, and because of that we were reaching and taking bad penalties late in the game, and it really cost us.
No doubt. Quick yeah, true. A quick update. We do have a Nats game going on live right now. Mets versus the Nats up in New York, and Bryce Harper just hit a solo home run, his 8th in the top of the first with 2 outs. No one was on, but Nats up 1-0 with 2 outs and Ryan Zimmerman up the bat. He just swing and miss on a 1-1 pitch. Now it's 1-2. So just give a quick update on the Nats game. So at least we have some pleasantries to bring into this disgusting negative penalty-filled 0-2 hole the Caps are in.
Sure, yeah, that boy bad. That boy is playing. If everybody else can get up to his level, boy, my goodness, and that's going to be something else. But that boy is on something right now.
Yeah, he definitely is. We definitely going to get into that in the second hour, how well he's playing and how inconsistent the rest of the team is playing. But that's definitely something we're going to talk about in the second hour. And let's go ahead and break down the second game, and then we'll get Robbie's perspective from being there live before we break down and give our thoughts on it.
Yeah, absolutely. So on Sunday, that unfortunate loss again, that in our first period, the Capitals came out with a number 83 big score, which was awesome considering that he had been out injured. So the Capitals score with a tip-off assist by Orpik and Jurabek at 2:12. And then Ovi scores his first playoff goal at 13:26. But then the Jackets come back to score at 18:25 and close out the first with the Caps still in the lead 2-1. Heading into the second period, the grade 8 scores his second of the night at 4:09. But then the remaining period, the Blues score 3 goals to end the second with a 4-3 lead. And then heading into the third period, the Capitals come back with Oshie scoring to tie the game at 16:25, assisted by Backstrom and Carlson. The tie led us into overtime. They go ahead and the Capitals pull Grubauer, put Holtby in, and at 12:22, Columbus scores again for the win in overtime. So we're heading into the series 0-2 and heading to Columbus for I think it's they playing Tuesday night. I can't remember. Tuesday when the next game is. Yeah,
Tuesday.
Yeah, Tuesday. And then again, ridiculous penalties and frustration. Definitely, I'm feeling the frustration with penalties more so on the second game than the first game, but definitely seems to be something that doesn't need to be repeating.
Well, good. Well, let me sort of break down some of my thoughts going into this game, so the ups and downs, both, as a observer, as a reporter, but also as a fan, so, your heart's still in it as well. Jay Beagle scoring so quickly was just a great thing. And what a shot by Brooks Orpik from the point. And I knew it was deflected immediately because, wow, it changed angles, in a heartbeat. And immediately you felt the presence of Jay Beagle, both at the face-off, which we did much better in game one, but a lot of the intangibles, and then also these gritty plays down by the goal. The Ovi power play goal was a thing of beauty, as it always is, and it sets off a big night for John Carlson. So that's his first assist of the night. The night is over. He has 3 assists. So John Carlson is still playing very, very well. TJ Oshie got his first point of the playoffs with an assist as well on that power play, up 2-0. And then I feel like we just kind of took our foot off the brake for just a second, and they came back and scored at 18:25, and it just sort of proved that you just can't miss a beat. You just can't let them back into it. So 2-1, but then Ovi, then we got another power play. Ovi got a goal, second, as you mentioned, and Backstrom's third assist, Carlson's 5th assist of the playoffs, 3-1. And so you have this sort of nice cushion. People are excited because, hey, at this point, we've got 35 minutes for Ovi to try to go for this. So I went to the Ovi versus Sid hat tricks back in 2009. I also saw the Nicholas Backstrom one in 2010. And I was like, oh, man, I'm seeing the same seats as the Nick Backstrom one. And he had to go to overtime to get it. But I was like, man, I hope that doesn't happen. But then I thought, later that maybe when we're going to overtime, maybe he could finally break his curse of not being able to do it in the postseason. But anyway, they were able to score those 3 goals, as you mentioned, and a lot of them were because of the power play. They were able to convert 2 for 3, and TJ Oshie was able to get one back. As you mentioned, we switched our goalie, and it sort of sparked us. I think Holtby looked really good, but it was unfortunate that it's a bummer only because I really thought that Tom Wilson could have ended it in overtime, and it was right in front of me, and I was like, oh man, it's a wide open net, and he just whipped. And yeah, he had a couple of bad plays in this game. And what sucks about a 5-4 loss is just a couple of plays here and there can make the difference. Last thing that I want to talk about is just the penalties for a second. It was pretty evenly called in the first 2-2. It was 2-2 in the second. And the third, they gave us 4 power plays. And at that point, I know that it's great that we converted on 3 power plays in this game, but if they're giving us 7 and they're one of the worst on the PK in the league, we've got to convert on 4 out of 7. That would have been the difference. And so it was, there was moments of frustration. There was moments of great joy. I shot a lot of great video, and I'm sad, I don't post it unless we win, just because. But hopefully someday it'll make a highlight reel if we can be able to come back in this series. But it was definitely exciting to go with my dad. I enjoyed the time. I just felt bad that I made him stay up super late on a work night, and then we had to go to overtime, and then we pull out the victory.
Yeah, it was definitely a frustrating game to watch. I can imagine being there, but this team had 2-goal lead twice and found a way to give it up with undisciplined play. They allowed Columbus to get into their heads because a lot of the penalties were retaliation penalties. You had holding a stick, you had roughing, and penalties that the Capitals normally don't take. And unfortunately, they chose the playoffs in Game 2 in a critical game to fall for the bait. But honestly, going into Game 3, I like their chances a lot better going on the road. They played better on the road this year, going into a hostile environment, knowing that they can't make these same mistakes at home and depending on the crowd to get them back into the game. So, getting back home for Game 5 is the agenda right now. I think it's a possibility. And, as long as they play discipline and play the game that they play and don't fall for what Columbus does, they can win this game and get back in this series. And that's all that matters at this point. Going down 0-2 in hockey, we know it's never over. A lot of folks want to throw in the towel and say whatever, but hockey is a sport like no other. There's no other playoff format, and momentum swings, and an 8 seed can just take over and get a hot goalie and start clicking and, push a number 1 seed to the limit, even possibly beat it. So it's never over until it's over. Folks want to throw in the towel. That's cool. Like I said, I'm at about 30% that this team can come back. A lot of folks might be at 0. That's cool. I don't have a problem with that. But
I'm at 10, kind of you got to emotionally hedge yourself sometimes. I get why people, even you in some games turn the game off, so you gotta emotionally hedge yourself. It's too hard sometimes, and that was one of the hard things about being there is it felt like a gut punch, because the fans I really thought were super loud, and I thought they were really into it, and there's moments where we're quiet and nervous because that's just the nature of the game, but I thought that we really showed up big, and it was disappointing, but I love Wes Johnson. He wrote some good stuff on Facebook today saying, we're not out of this, we can definitely come back, but the thing is that we just got to fix these sloppy penalties, and we've got to play a consistent 60-minute game, and it's going to be difficult to go on the road, but, we've done well on the road in the past, and the reality is we just need to focus on getting one of the next 2, because if we can win the game at home, then we can try to win game 6 on the road. Obviously, winning both of them would be ideal, but we got to go into it with just the idea that we got to steal at least 1.
No doubt. DujunneaB, what did you take from this game with the Caps having 2-goal leads and Columbus being able to get into the head of the Caps and allowing them to come back and win both games on the road and putting the Caps back against the wall?
I think for fans, I think a gut punch is a little nice. I think it's just like kicking the ball, but you can't sit here and make penalties and allow a team to basically bait you into making penalties and dumb penalties, and we see what it's gotten them into giving up goals later and allowing them to get on a streak. We had in the second period 3 straight goals for them to tie this thing, and it's just not a good look, man. What needs to happen is what they've been doing all season, playing their game. Getting up on teams is going to be a plus for them, But again, we all know it's not about how you start; it's about how you finish, and they have to start finishing games. And this is not like these guys aren't pushovers by any means. And I know that some Cavs fans should feel like they shouldn't be in a battle with this particular team. But in the same token, one of the worst teams you can play is a team that absolutely had nothing to lose. And they really don't. They really don't. The pressure is on the Cavs because the Cavs can't get past their kryptonite in Pittsburgh. And I don't see it impossible that they can't roll off 3 and, start wielding the sword and stab them dead and get this thing over with before 7. It would behoove them to do so because it definitely looks like they're going to be taking on Pittsburgh again if they can get that far. And they're going to have to get their minds right now. All this talk about goalie and who should be playing, look, at this point, Grubauer has done an excellent job, should be patted on the back for that, should not be faulted for any of the mistakes that were made. At this point, though, I think you just have to go with Obi, that's your dude. He is the guy. Give him an opportunity. The team has to play and keep the puck out of the danger zone and stop putting all the pressure on the goalie. We know what happens to both. And look, it happened to Grubauer. When you got that kind of pressure down there, and you're trying to find the puck, and guys aren't keeping the puck out of the zone, and they're just allowing to slap away at it in hopes to get something. Hey, if I chop away at it enough down there in front of the goalie, at some point I'm probably going to get one and get a lucky one down there. And they've had that happen. They just got to do a better job as a team. It can't be all on every time something goes wrong. All the fans turn around looking at the goalie, looking at coaching. Look, players play, coaches coach. And it's time for them to get their heads out of their hind pots and get out here and start playing some hockey like they have been all season long. And you can't just start games and expect, we're going to get a couple on the guys and they just going to fold up. No, this is playoff hockey, buddy. Nobody folds in playoff hockey. There are no giveaways in playoff hockey. You might find that in basketball in this season. That ain't the case, but you might find that a few times in other sports. You're not going to find that here. You come out here, you roll out the helmets, you think you're just going to get up on people and just going to roll out the helmets and, they just going to lay down. It's not going to happen. So maybe they've learned their lesson now, 0-2, and they'll actually go out here and start putting boots to behind and get a win. And I hope so for the fans, but it is. As someone that has to sit here and report on this nonsense, it's tough to watch, and it's kind of a little bit, aggravating to sit here and watch and know that a team is better than what they're putting out there. Sorry to win, but it's just awful to see dumb stuff that they haven't done on a regular basis all season to come up when you need to have a collective unit to go out and perform and get the job done. It's got to stop now, or they're going to find themselves on the couch eating popcorn, watching the rest of the playoffs.
No doubt. Before we get to the goalie situation, I'm going to get Anna's take on that. One of the things that hasn't, has been grazed over is that this is a Metro Division opponent. When you play these teams over and over again, you know these teams and you know how to play them. And, even though the Caps won the regular season series, which we know doesn't mean anything, but these teams know each other very well. And, the fact that Columbus started getting hot towards the end of the season and started playing better, is definitely to their advantage. The Caps were also doing the same thing, but the X factor, as we've mentioned over and over again, is the undisciplined play and the penalties. Now, the goalie situation, I agree. Me and Robbie was talking about this earlier before the show, that you have to put Hopi out there. It's do or die. He's your, he's your man. He's got the 5-year big contract. He's what you, hanging everything on. And it's time to do or die time. They got to go out there and play well and do well in order to stretch this thing out and try to make a series of it. And what do you think about the goalie situation? Would you stick with Hopi? Go with Hopi or stick with Grubauer? Excuse me.
I actually am going to disagree with you guys. I feel like Grubauer has proved himself to me towards the end of the season. My biggest concern is that Braden Holtby is having like a mental block there. And I've said it before, I've coached and I was and am an athlete. And I feel like once you get into that mental space, it is really hard to get out of. So for people to put all, a lot of the pressure on Holtby, to me, is not fair. I'm going to 100%, it's the team effort, and the penalties killed us in the last 2 games. I mean, I, want to get on that soapbox and say, are you kidding me with Niskanen getting an overtime penalty for tripping? Like, I just, I was screaming at my TV screen yesterday, but I feel like we have 2 goalies that are both, that they're just amazing, and both of them have things to offer. So I don't want to see one get outplayed over the other. I mean, I feel like Grubauer, hands down, could have won the last 2 games easily had our defensive linemen been in front of the goal. There was a lot of times that, Atkinson's goal yesterday, there was nobody around. It's like, come on, you got to support your goalie. So I feel a little bit of frustration towards that. I feel the frustration with the fans, with the standing ovation for Holtby yesterday. It should have been a standing ovation for Grubauer and his efforts and for Holtby. But, when fans go one way or another, that vibe's not okay. So I'm okay. I've been pushing Grubauer all season. We're 80-plus games in, and I feel like the biggest focus right now is not the goaltending. The biggest thing right now is those stupid penalties that they need to just stop. It shouldn't even be a discussion at this point.
No.
Unfortunately, it is. But, yeah.
And
we did an innovation for Grubauer as well. Just to be fair, in the last game, it was actually the biggest innovation of the entire game was for Grubauer early in the first period.
Well, hold. Well, I gotta agree and I gotta disagree on one point. I gotta call bullshit on the Holtby factor. Now, he's been known as being, strong mentally and be able to shake it off. Boom, boom, boom. This is the first adversity he's had to face in his career since he's got the big contract. Now, to say that we need to let him off the hook and sit him on a bench and coddle him is, I'm sorry to say this, DC fan mindset. And you're the number one guy. I don't give a damn what happened. If as long as it ain't your mama or your kid or nothing passed away or nothing dramatic like that, I don't care what's in your head. You got that big contract for a reason. Now you need to go out there, get it together, and man up. Same thing for the rest of the team. But to say that, he hasn't been there in his head all season, that's cool. The regular season is one thing. This is playoff time. This is what he got that contract for. This is where he made his name at in the playoffs. So he needs to step up. He needs, matter of fact, I'm going to call him out. He needs a shutout tomorrow night. That's what he needs to get his confidence back and get his so-called mental game together. If he goes out there and puts his maximum effort and get all of that nonsense mental BS out and play like he truly can play, he can go out there and shut out that Columbus team because they got one game breaker out there. Cam Atkinson, he's a gritty player. He gets dirty goals. But they got one game changer that can change the whole complexion of the game, and that's Panarin. And as long as we take care of him and play solid defense, there's no reason why this team can't go out there and win Game 3 on the road.
I'm with you, Carol. It's time to harvest your nuts. It's time to harvest your nuts, okay?
I can't say that, but I can say that. My frustration is it's got nothing to do with the goalie skill. I mean, you've got goaltenders in there that have both earned it. Where was Orlov? Where was Orpik and stuff? They weren't doing a damn thing in the last 2 games. I think Orlov was leading half the time. So to me, it was like, hold on a second. I don't care who's between the pipes. You have 2 goalies that are qualified to play and know what they're supposed to do. So freaking do it. But our team needs to rally too. So I don't care who plays on Tuesday night, because I feel like the other players need to step up more and not just put it on Holtby or Group Hour. I'm assuming that Holtby is going to play.
Yeah, I believe. I think that's where it's
I'm with
going.
you on that, Anna. I really am. I mean, it don't matter who's between the pipes. Guys got to step up and help the goalie, and they weren't doing that. So to point the finger at either or, my thing is, though, is that Grubauer's had an opportunity, and I think I'm with Carol. If you pay that man all that money, hey, man, time to harvest your nuts. You got to go out there and play some hockey, and he can do it. He's proven that. Their tape showing that he's had some big plays in playoff games. It's time to rock and roll, and I think they can do that. But yes, they're going to need help for those teammates to go out there and help them out. You can't just stand around with your hands all up in your pocket, scratching, whatever, and letting guys just blow by and putting pressure on the goalie like that. It's not all on them. It's time for everybody to step up, get their mind right, and let's start playing some hockey like they know how to play. It's just frustrating to watch a team that you know is better than what they're showing out here on the ice.
Absolutely. And I would have had Rana in the game yesterday for his speed skills to stop that Atkinson goal. I mean, it was like he might as well just have said, hey, listen, here's an empty rink and an empty net to go for it. Because our players were nowhere to be found, and they obviously couldn't keep up with them. So you keep, and I agree with what Robbie said before, Rana, they're going to have nerves. They're kids. But you know what? You can't put them in for, 4 minutes or 6 minutes and then think that it's going to be okay. So I would like to see Rana back. I don't know what they're going to do with Burakovsky out now, but now it's time, let the rookies do their thing. They got the speed.
Yeah, I think Ron is going to be I think Ron is going to be in the lineup. And going back to the Atkinson goal, I know you keep on bringing it up. If you remember back, it started in the offensive zone for the Caps when they were doing the 5-man cycle. And the forward, I can't remember who it was, he didn't go down to the corner when Orpik came down the cycle. So therefore, Orpik threw it into an empty corner, which it was a bad change, which is what led to Atkinson being so wide open on that play. So as we say, it goes back to undisciplined play. If they would have, it was a bad late change. I mean, the cycle game was going, even though you was tired, the cycle game, you know your role in it, and to leave the ice to go change, and it threw off the whole play, and that's why the man got caught deep, and that's how Atkinson got wide open in front of the net. I watched it over and over again. It was disgusting because I actually saw it before it happened. When I saw the puck trickle into the corner and nobody over there to get it, I said that's not a good sign. And it turned out to be a goal in the back of the net on our side. So it was very frustrating. It was like you said, the Caps haven't played that undisciplined or sloppy for most of the season, and definitely not the end of the season. And to see them put 2 back-to-back games like that is very disappointing and frustrating. I guess we've pretty much broken down our thoughts for Game 3 and Game 4 that we feel it should be a victory. But I guess if Robbie, I know you keep track of all the round robin of everything that's going on. If you want to give a quick update on the Stanley Cup playoff situation with all the other teams, if you got it ready to rock and roll, I know that you probably do.
I do. I'll give a quick round robin, and then I'll take a quick look at the Caps week ahead, just to give people an idea of when to tune in and rock the red or white, I guess, is what we need. I am going to switch to my road Baxter jersey for the next 2 games. Just going around real fast, Tampa Bay is up 2-0 over New Jersey, and Boston's been dominating. They're also up 2-0 over Toronto, who's taken a ridiculous number of penalties. And some major ones that actually cost some players some time. So as we know, Columbus up 2-0. Pittsburgh's up 2-1 over Philadelphia. They blew them. It's kind of interesting. All 3 games have been blowouts. So Philly was able to blow Pittsburgh out in Game 2, but Pittsburgh was able to come back to Philadelphia and win Game 3. And then the West, Nashville's up 2-0 over Colorado. 2-1 Jets over Minnesota. The Vegas Golden Knights are taking care of things in their very first playoffs ever. They're up 3-0 over Los Angeles. If they win a cup in their first season, my God, it would be something to talk about for years to come. Anyway, but Anaheim is down 2-0 to San Jose. San Jose is the 3 seed, so and that is interesting over there in the West. The those two games, which I hope that we are, it would force a Game 5 on Saturday. The time is to be determined. It would be a Saturday game against Columbus in Washington. That'll be interesting to see. They actually had to move the Valor game. We'll talk about that a little bit more in the Valor news a little bit later. So the Valor were supposed to play that night, but they needed to open up all the possible time slots because you never know how long a hockey game is going to last. And then if somehow we can force a Game 6, that would be during our showtime, we would think, our normal showtime at 7 next Monday. So we'll definitely announce through social media the exact start time of our show next week. We may also have a special guest, former Olympian from this past year. We're trying to get her on the show. So an exciting next couple of weeks for our shows as we're trying to set up to, as we're getting very close to episode 100. So, so that's sort of the week ahead for the Capitals. And, Carol, do you have any final thoughts before we switch to basketball?
No, I done pretty said it all. Let's give a quick scoring update. Unfortunately, the Mets tied it up in the bottom of the first with a RBI double, making it 1-1. It's now bottom of the third, I believe, still tied at 1. And as to talk about that Bryce Harper home run, I just looked at it again. He actually hit it and broke the bat as he hit the home run. He actually broke it like right at the shaft, right above his hands. But he got enough power on it. It still went over 410 feet. That's just crazy.
Yeah, that is right.
All right, but
All right. Well, Anna, thank you so much for being a part of our show tonight. And hopefully we'll have some good things to talk about. Hopefully there'll be a hockey game on the night that we'll have a show next week. That would be the most exciting outcome. We really appreciate you for joining with us tonight.
Yeah, no, thanks a lot. And I'm still rocking the red. I'm still pulling for the boys. I think that they can do it. So let's hope that in a week we are talking live for a game at home. That'd be amazing.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. I'm going to go ahead and end this Facebook Live feed. I appreciate everybody tuning in. All the comments, appreciate it. I'm going to end this feed now. Robbie will be starting Wizards Talk with the playoff edition, breaking down their first game against Toronto. Appreciate everybody tuning in. You can catch him on his feed now.